I woke up at 2:17 a.m. to the sound of my girlfriend whispering someone else's name. Not my name, not a friend's name, not her sister. His name, her ex. If stories like this resonate with you, consider subscribing. More real stories are coming. At first, I didn't even sit up. I just lay there in the dark, staring at the ceiling, letting my brain try to do what it always does when something feels wrong. Explain it away. Make it reasonable. Turn it into nothing. A phone buzzing in the dark doesn't have to mean anything. A soft glow under a blanket could be a notification. A quiet shift of a body could be someone going to the bathroom. A whisper could be her trying not to wake me. That's what trust does. It gives people 1,000 excuses they didn't earn. We'd been together long enough that I wasn't supposed to be suspicious. We lived together. We shared bills. We planned weekends like they mattered. She used my toothbrush holder, stole my side of the closet, complained about the same things I complained about. It felt like a real relationship, not something fragile. So when she slipped out of bed, I told myself she couldn't sleep. I heard the floor creak softly, the bedroom door close halfway, the faint sound of her voice, low enough to be safe but still clear in the quiet apartment. The living room was only a few steps away. The walls were thin enough that secrets didn't get to be private for long. I rolled over and stared at the clock. 2:17 a.m. Then I heard it again. His name. My chest tightened. My body went cold like someone poured ice down my spine. I sat up slowly and listened harder, because in that moment, denial wasn't protecting me anymore. It was just delaying the inevitable. Her voice was soft, familiar. The way people talk when they don't want a conversation to end. The way they talk when they feel comfortable. The way she used to talk to me before life and routines and bills turned us into something quieter. I couldn't hear every word, but I heard enough. Small laughter. A quiet sigh. Her whispering, I know, I know. My hands curled into fists under the blanket. I didn't move. I didn't storm out. I didn't interrupt. I just listened like a man standing at the edge of a cliff, waiting to see if the ground would hold. She stayed in the living room for almost 20 minutes. When she came back into the bedroom, she moved carefully. She slid under the covers like she was returning from the bathroom, like she was innocent, like the air between us wasn't heavy with something she just carried in. I didn't say anything, because the thing about betrayal is that your body knows before your mouth is ready to admit it. The next night, it happened again. This time, I woke up to the vibration before she even moved. I watched her screen light up briefly in the darkness. I didn't see the full message, but I saw the contact name long enough for my stomach to drop again. Her ex. She didn't answer right away. She waited, like she was deciding if the risk was worth it. Then she slipped out of bed again. Same routine, same careful movements, same half-closed door, same low voice. I stayed in bed listening, staring at the shadows on the wall, feeling my heart beat hard in my chest like it wanted to climb out. I kept telling myself I'd talk to her in the morning. I kept telling myself it was probably harmless. I kept telling myself I was going to handle it like an adult. But then she laughed. And that laugh hit me harder than any words would have. It was light, genuine, warm. The kind of laugh I hadn't heard from her in weeks. She came back after 15 minutes and curled into me in her sleep like her body still wanted the security I provided. I lay there stiff as stone, because I could feel the split in our relationship now. Her body wanted comfort. Her mind wanted him. The third night, I didn't pretend anymore. I stayed awake with my eyes closed, waiting for the buzz like I was waiting for a punch. It came at 1:54 a.m. Buzz, buzz. She checked the screen. I could tell by the movement of her hand under the blanket. Then she got up, barefoot, and walked out like she owned the quiet. Like she wasn't doing anything wrong. I waited 10 seconds. Then I got up too. I didn't storm into the living room. I didn't slam the door open. I moved quietly, the way you move when you're trying not to make your heartbreak louder than it already is. I stood in the hallway and listened. Her voice was clearer from there. "I missed that about you," she said softly. There was a pause, a tiny one. Then she said, "I know. I don't want him waking up. Him. Me." I stood there frozen, feeling my hands go numb. The words hit me in a way I didn't expect. Not because she was talking to her ex, but because in her mind, I wasn't her partner in that moment. I was an obstacle, a sleeping body she needed to avoid so she could keep doing what she wanted. I stepped back into the bedroom and sat on the edge of the bed, breathing through my nose to keep myself calm. My jaw ached from clenching it. My heart felt like it was pushing against my ribs. I told myself I would handle it in the morning. Calm conversation, rational boundaries, give her a chance to explain. But deep down, I already knew the explanation. She was attached to him, and she was using my stable life as the place to do it from. Morning came, and she acted normal. She kissed my cheek while I made coffee. She asked if I wanted eggs. She mentioned an errand we needed to run later. She played music in the kitchen like she was relaxed, like the night never happened. I watched her move around our apartment like she belonged there completely. It was almost impressive how easy she made it look. I asked the question softly, like I was giving her space to be honest. "Who were you talking to last night?" Her hands froze for half a second. Then she kept moving like nothing happened. "No one." I stared at her. "I heard you." She sighed and leaned on the counter like I was tiring her out. "I couldn't sleep," she said. "I called a friend. A friend." She didn't even try to sound convincing. She just wanted me to accept it. I took a sip of coffee and felt my chest tighten. "Was it your ex?" Her eyes flashed immediately. "Why are you accusing me?" I didn't raise my voice, because I heard his name. She rolled her eyes like I was being dramatic. "Oh my God, we talk sometimes. It's not a big deal. Sometimes." I stared at her, waiting for regret, waiting for guilt, waiting for her to realize how insane this looked. She didn't give me any. She crossed her arms. "He's going through a hard time. I'm just being nice. You're acting insecure." That word hit me like a slap. Insecure. I wasn't insecure. I was being disrespected. I didn't argue. I didn't beg. I didn't threaten to leave. I just nodded and walked away and went to work, because I knew if I stayed, I'd say something I couldn't take back. All day I tried to focus, but my mind kept replaying the same scene. Her whispering, her laughter, her calling me him. That night, the call came again. 1:38 a.m. Buzz, buzz. I didn't move. She did. Out of bed, out of the room, back to the living room. I stared at the ceiling, feeling the last piece of patience inside me crack. It wasn't that she talked to him. It was that she did it every night, in secret, in my home, while I was right there. I got up. This time I didn't try to be quiet. I walked into the living room and turned on the light. She jumped like she'd been caught stealing. Her phone was pressed to her ear. Her eyes were wide, and her face looked guilty before she could rearrange it. She froze mid-sentence. On the screen, I saw the call. His name. I didn't say anything at first. I just stood there, staring at her, letting the silence do what it needed to do. She pulled the phone away and hissed, "What are you doing?" I looked at her like I didn't recognize her. "You're calling him again." She tried to lower her voice like she could still control the situation. "I was just checking on him, at 2 in the morning, every night, in my apartment." She stood up, angry now, like my presence was the problem. "You're spying on me." I laughed once, bitter. "No, you're sneaking around like you're single." Her eyes filled for a second, then hardened. "We're not doing this. I'm not cheating." I stared at her. You don't have to sleep with him to betray me. She said my name like she was trying to calm me down. Please. He's just someone I care about. We have history. History. The same word people use when they don't want to say attachment. I nodded slowly. Okay. Her shoulders loosened like she thought she'd won. Good. Then I walked back into the bedroom and grabbed a trash bag from the closet. She followed me, confused. What are you doing? I didn't answer. I started opening drawers and putting her clothes into the bag. She blinked like she couldn't process it. Stop. What are you doing? I kept moving calmly, like a man who finally stopped negotiating with himself. Pack your stuff. Her voice went sharp. Are you serious right now? Yes. She stepped closer. You can't just kick me out. I looked at her. You've been leaving every night. You just didn't move your body. Her mouth fell open. I kept packing. Shirts, jeans, makeup bag, chargers. Everything that was hers went into bags. I didn't throw things. I didn't break things. I didn't yell. I moved with cold precision because I'd already mourned the relationship in my head for 3 nights. She started crying, then yelling, switching back and forth because she didn't know which one would stop me. You're insane. You're overreacting. You're controlling. You're going to regret this. I didn't respond. Because when a person crosses your boundaries every night, the conversation is already over. I carried the bags to the front door and set them down. Then I opened the door and pushed them outside. She stood behind me, shaking, tears running down her face. You're really doing this? I nodded. Yes. She took a step toward the door like she was going to fight it. I held up my hand. Don't. My voice was calm. And the calm scared her more than anger. Because calm means decision. She stared at me, waiting for me to soften, waiting for me to cave. I didn't, she whispered. Where am I supposed to go? I looked at her. Call him. She flinched like that was cruel. I didn't feel cruel. I felt honest. She grabbed her purse, sobbing now. She walked outside slowly like she hoped I'd stop her. I didn't. I closed the door, and for the first time in weeks, the apartment was quiet in a way that felt clean. My phone buzzed a minute later. Her number. I didn't answer. Another call, then another, then a text. Please, I'm sorry. I didn't realize it looked bad. Looked bad. That wasn't the problem. It was bad. I set my phone down and sat on the couch in the silence she used to leave me in every night. I stared at the blank TV screen and realized how twisted it was that I'd spent days trying to be reasonable, while she spent nights being selfish. The next morning, I woke up to a message from an unknown number. It was him. Bro. Chill. Nothing happened. She was just talking. I stared at the message and felt a strange clarity. He felt comfortable enough to text me. That meant she'd been talking about me, too. That meant I wasn't just her boyfriend in this situation. I was the guy in the way. I deleted the message without replying. Later that day, she came back, standing in the hallway outside my door, knocking softly like she was asking permission to return to a life she had been slowly abandoning. I didn't open it. She cried and begged and promised. She said she'd block him. She said it was a mistake. She said she didn't realize how it looked. She said she loved me. I stayed silent. Because I wasn't angry anymore. I was done. I realized something simple. If someone needs to hide their loyalty, it isn't loyalty. If someone needs midnight conversations with their ex, they're not fully yours. And if you have to compete for your own place in your relationship, you're not in a relationship. You're in a waiting room. I thought love meant being patient, but I learned love also means having a spine. So I packed her things, I put them outside, and I went back to bed. Alone. But finally at peace. The weird part was how quickly my body adapted once she was gone. I expected to feel empty. I expected to feel regret. I expected to stare at the door and wonder if I'd gone too far. Instead, I felt my shoulders drop like I'd been carrying weight I didn't realize was there. The air in the apartment felt different, cleaner, like the walls could finally breathe. I made coffee and listened to the silence. No buzzing phone, no whispered conversations, no footsteps sneaking out of the bedroom. Just quiet. And the quiet didn't feel lonely. It felt respectful. I went to work and kept checking my phone out of habit, but the habit was already breaking. I didn't want to see her name light up the screen anymore. Every message felt like an attempt to rewrite what already happened. By lunchtime, she sent another text from a different number. "I'll come back home after work. We need to talk like adults." That line almost made me laugh. Talk like adults. As if adults call their ex every night at 2 in the morning and then act offended when they get caught. As if adults make their partner feel like a stranger in his own bed. I didn't respond. I muted the number and kept going. When I got home that evening, her bags were still outside the door where I left them. She hadn't taken them. She hadn't come back yet. The hallway smelled like someone's cooking on the floor below, and I stood there looking at those bags like they were proof I wasn't imagining things. I brought them inside, not because I wanted her back, but because I wasn't going to be the guy whose life becomes hallway gossip. I set them neatly by the door, then locked it. If she wanted them, she could ask. She could come during the day. She could knock like a normal person. Around 9 p.m., there was a knock. Soft at first, then harder, then frantic. I didn't open it. I stood behind the door listening to her breathing on the other side, the way people breathe when they want to cry but refuse to. "Open the door," she whispered. I stayed silent. She tried again, louder. "Please, just open the door. I need to talk." I still didn't move. Because the thing about boundaries is you don't set them with speeches. You set them with actions. You set them by not letting people drag you back into the same cycle just because they're scared now. She knocked again. "I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry. I wasn't thinking. I wasn't trying to hurt you." I finally spoke, but I didn't open the door. "You weren't thinking for one night," I said. "You were thinking every night. You were choosing it." There was silence, then a sniff. "I just didn't want him to feel alone," she said. I laughed once under my breath. "You didn't want him to feel alone," I said. "But you were fine letting me feel alone while you left the bed every night." She didn't answer. Then she said something that told me everything. "He understands me." That was her real reason. Not that he was going through a hard time. Not that she was being kind. Not that it was innocent. "He understands me." I closed my eyes and felt my jaw tighten. "Then go be understood," I said. Her voice turned sharp immediately. "So that's it. You're throwing us away." I kept my voice calm. "You threw it away at 2 a.m., the first time you decided his voice mattered more than my peace." She started crying again, loud this time. "You're being cruel. You're being heartless." I didn't respond. Because heartless is what people call you when they can't control you anymore. Eventually, the knocking stopped. The hallway got quiet again. I waited a minute, then another, making sure she was really gone. When I looked through the peephole, she wasn't there. The next day, I came home from work, and her bags were gone. That should have been the end of it. But she still tried. She sent emails. She messaged on social media. She used friends to check on me. She tried to turn it into a misunderstanding, a moment of insecurity, a mistake that got out of hand. One friend actually told me, she said you kicked her out over a phone call. Over a phone call, like it was one call, like it happened once, like I woke up and flipped out for no reason. So I told him the truth. It wasn't one call, I said. It was every night, 2 in the morning, whispering like I didn't exist, acting normal in the morning like I was stupid. My friend went quiet. Then he said, "Yeah, I get it." And that's when I realized something important. The right people don't need convincing. Because respect is obvious. A few days later, I ran into her at the grocery store. Not on purpose. I was grabbing coffee and eggs like a normal person trying to rebuild his mornings. She saw me and froze, like she didn't expect reality to have consequences in public. She looked tired. Her hair was pulled back messily. No makeup. No confident posture. She looked smaller. For a second, a part of me wanted to feel sorry for her. Then I remembered her laugh in the living room at 2:17 a.m. I remembered the way she whispered his name like it was a comfort. She walked toward me slowly. "Can we talk?" she asked. I looked at her. "We already did." Her eyes filled again. "It wasn't like that." I shook my head slightly. "It was exactly like that." She swallowed hard, trying to hold it together. "I blocked him. I'm done with him. I'm serious this time." I stared at her for a moment. "You blocked him because you lost your safety net," I said. "Not because you chose me." Her face tightened. "That's not true." "Then why did you hide it?" I asked. "Why did you whisper? Why did you lie? Why did you act like I was the problem for noticing?" She didn't answer, because there wasn't an answer that didn't sound like guilt. I stepped around her and kept walking. She followed for a few steps. "Please, I miss you." I stopped and turned just enough to look at her. "You miss what I provided," I said. "You miss being loved without being accountable." Her eyes widened like that hit too close. I wasn't trying to be cruel. I was trying to be clear, because clarity is what ends cycles. I walked out of the store and into the evening air. I sat in my car for a second with my hands on the wheel, breathing through the tightness in my chest. And I realized something else. I didn't feel broken. I felt proud. Proud that I noticed the pattern. Proud that I didn't ignore it. Proud that I didn't beg. Proud that I didn't wait until it got worse. Because it always gets worse when you let people disrespect you quietly. And I wasn't going to let my life become a place where someone else's midnight loyalty mattered more than my daylight peace.